Hello, my name is Dr. Irfan Hussain. I am a PhD in biochemistry from Aligarh Muslim University. I have also qualified CSIR two times, ICMR, GIF and JKCET. I am teaching biology and biochemistry at PG, UG, NET and NEET levels. Today we are going to study the structure, function and composition of plasma membrane. At the end of this lecture, you will clearly understand the basic structure, composition and function of the plasma membranes. Let's start now. What is plasma membrane? Plasma membrane is thin, elastic, semi-permeable barrier which covers the living cells. It is also called as cell membrane. The main functions of this plasma membrane is protecting the cell, transporting substances in and out of the cell, maintaining hemostasis, facilitating communication between the cells. Now let's go to next slide. The most acceptable model for the structure of the plasma membrane is fluid mosaic model. And this fluid mosaic model is the most widely accepted model. It was given by Singer and Nicholson in 1972. And there are a few terms in this which you have to understand. First is fluid. What is meant by fluid? Fluid means that plasma membrane is flexible, which means that its components are capable of moving within the bilayer. And there is another term that is mosaic. Mosaic means it's composed of various molecules like proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, which are dynamic and ever-changing in pattern. And another term you will find in the structure of the plasma membrane is that plasma membrane is asymmetrical in nature. It means that there is unequal distribution and arrangement of lipids, proteins, carbohydrates between the inner and outer leaflets of the lipid bilayer. Now, the various components present in the plasma membrane are lipids, carbohydrates. As you can see in this figure, this red colored patch represents the phospholipid bilayer membrane, and these embedded structures, these represent the integral membrane proteins. These are the peripheral proteins, and the bead-like structures on this membrane, these are the carbohydrates. If these carbohydrates are attached on the lipid molecules, they are called glycolipids, and if they are present on the protein molecules, they are called as glycolipids. That's study 3C in detail. Now let's start with the lipids. There are four major colors of lipids in the plasma membrane. First is phospholipid, which is the most abundant lipid in the plasma membrane. Then there is also sphingolipids, glycolipids, citrullins, for example, cholesterol in case of the animal cells. All of them are aliphatic molecules possessing both hydrophobic and hydrophilic domains. This arrangement gives selective barrier, allowing certain substances to pass through the membrane and certain substances to keep it out of them. This is the general structure of the phospholipid membrane, and this is the individual structure of the phospholipid representing the hydrophilic head and hydrophobic tails, which are made of fatty acids. This was about the lipids. Now we will study the proteins present in the plasma membrane. These proteins are called membrane proteins, and they are two types. First is the integral or intrinsic proteins, which span the membrane, and there are further of three types. First is monotropic, second is biotropic, and third one is polytropic. It depends upon how many times they span the leaflets, two leaflets of the lipid bilayer. If they pass one time or one leaflet, it is monotropic. If it passes two times, it is biotropic, and if it passes multiple times, then it is polytropic. On the basis of the function of membrane proteins, there are different examples of these proteins. Like we have the channel and tunnel proteins, as you can see in this figure. Then we have the carrier transport proteins. Then we have the pumps, like sodium potassium pump we have. Then there are receptors, there are the enzymes, etc. These are the various functions of the proteins present in the membrane. For example, it has the enzymatic activity, they help in the signal transduction, they help in active and passive transport, they also help with the cell-cell recombination, intercellular joining and encourage an attachment etc. Now, lastly, we have the carbohydrates. These are the least abundant biomolecules present in the plasma membrane, and they are attached to the proteins or lipids on the extracellular side of the plasma membrane. If they are attached to the proteins, then they are called glycoproteins, and if they are attached to the lipids on the phospholipid biomembrane, then they are called glycolipids. They form the distinct cellular markers that allow them to recognize each other. That is, the cells recognize each other by means of these carbohydrates. In summary, we can see that phospholipid biomembrane, this plasma membrane consists of lipids, proteins, carbohydrates, which help them to perform various vital functions in the plasma membrane